It's funny, if I got asked on any different day, what are the three principles? I'm sure I give a different answer, because these three words, these three principles, these three truths, are pointing in a direction. They're not things. They're not something that you can hold on to or kind of classify as something. They are really just pointers, and the more we look in the direction they're pointing in, the more we understand experience. We understand our own experience, others' experience. We understand the nature of life, the building blocks of life, and we become a lot less focused on what is created with these principles, and we become more interested in this power that creates. So, to me, there is this unlimited, formless, spiritual potential that creates all of life. And as human beings, we get to experience that via the beautiful gift of thought. And although I don't always like what is created, I feel like I've become, I sit in awe of the power that creates, the fact that it creates, and the perfect nature of it in the system that works. So it does not matter what is being created, it's always being created the same way. So if I'm living a life of pain and misery, it's these same principles operating behind the scenes of that to make it possible. And if I'm living a life of joy and peace, it's those same principles at work, creating. So the less we look at what is created, and the more interested we become in what is creating. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to, as a human being, be able to grasp the enormity of whatever that is. But I really see it as magical. I see that human beings being able to experience life is magic. It's a gift. And I've always heard people talk about gratitude and thought what a wonderful idea, and how I can see how that would help your life. But the more I'm seeing of these principles, the more I am falling into a feeling of gratitude for life and experience. And it's nothing for me to do. There's nothing for us to do to be more human. We just start to see from the inside of us the nature of human beings, the nature of this world that we live in. And we don't need to do being a human. It's something that we already are. And I feel kind of where we've got into trouble is that we have started trying to manipulate the system. We're trying to manipulate this perfect system that operates within us. So it's almost, if something works, maybe just leave it alone to work. Like, I know that if I end up getting a scratch on my arm, it starts to heal. But I know that I can pick at it and mess around with it. And it takes longer to heal when I mess around with it. But actually, the immune system has this incredible power to heal. And we have that same power within us for our mind. That if left alone, it rights itself. So I see the power of these principles, not only for myself, but for communities and countries and the whole world, because the more people become aligned to the nature of how we experience, that as human beings we can only ever experience our thinking in the moment. And I know I'll say that again and again, because they are just words, but they have taken on such meaning for me, especially, this last year. My understanding has shifted and changed, and I'm so grateful for that. And it feels, wow, God, what else could there be to see? But I know I'm just scratching the surface of this, that there is a depth to this understanding that's going to go on and on and on to the end of my life, beyond, forever. There's a depth to this understanding that is infinite. So it will be experienced and seen in different ways forever. Like this isn't a self-help thing that you do and you get somewhere and then everything's fine. It's a journey. It's a journey of discovering more and more and more. And the more that I see, the more I realise that there is to see. So even the understanding I have now, I'm not holding on to that too tightly, because I know that the next moment or the next day or the next year, I will see something new. And the beauty of it for me is I have the same insight over and over and over again, but it's seeing it deeper, clearer, simpler. So I've heard for the last 8 years that my thought creates my feeling. And that has impacted me all along the way. And then this last year, it's almost, I can't get away from it. I cannot get away from this idea that my thought creates my feeling. My thought creates my feeling. And that is fascinating and freeing for me, because I know the nature of thought is ever changing. So you can't put these principles into a box, and I wouldn't want anyone to listen to me speak and think they needed to remember anything I say. You don't need to remember my words or stories or anything. If you are listening and you start having your own feeling, your own experience, look to that. Let the words find you. Let your words find you. Because this really isn't the kind of thing you can learn and share, because the words aren't where it's at. They're really not. I feel like I'm trying to use words to describe this feeling within me, this understanding within me, and words are inadequate, because for me, if I had to label it, it's a feeling of love that overflows from me now. And it's not just towards my family and people that I care about. It's feeling love for human beings and for animals, for nature, for life. And it is from that place that I share what I can of the principles. So don't listen to my words. Just look inside yourself, your own feeling, and let that be the guide for you. Because we all have this incredible truth within us. And I feel we just give it the space to come forth from us. So for me, that is where I am with these principles at the moment. They are just a direction, and where they're pointing me towards is just an infinite journey. But it's a journey that I am just so grateful to be on, and I feel I will spend my life trying to point people on their own journey towards their own truth in any way that I can.